Hello ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome back to our channel. Welcome to Fagiola Chuma 254. On this platform, as usual, we discuss our politics, social and economic welfare of our society. We do discuss these things because they affect us in our day-to-day lives. And as I've always told you, when our politics is right, everything else will fall into place. So today I want us to put aside politics and talk about our economy, because everybody has plans, whatever you want to do this year, and most of your plans, most of the things that you want to do this year have everything to do with money. And that money is scarce. That money is tough to get by. Getting it is not easy. There are no jobs. We've got so many pending bills in the government. There are guys who have worked for the government and they've not been paid. The county government, the national government. Our national wage bill is crazy. Our national debt, you don't even want to talk about it. And this is our economy, and we need to talk about it. We need to discuss. If there's something we're supposed to be talking about with a lot of zeal, like that stuff that was done in 2024 about the finance bill, it's our economy, it's our debt, it's our national wage bill. And today, we're putting aside politics. Let's do the same with the national wage bill. I want us to talk about our national debt as a nation. Right now, when somebody talks about the national debt of Kenya, all people think about is China, right? Everybody's always thinking about China. Oh, we owe China this much. We need to ask ourselves questions of the national debt. How much is external? How much is internal? What kind of games are we being played? Because there are games that are being played. And if we don't interrogate this kind of stuff, I swear to God, even if we brought Jesus to be the president of the nation of Kenya, we are still going to be going to the streets to complain about how the economy is. So, to talk about our national debt, we need to start from back in the history. And when I talk of starting back in the history, I'm talking about starting from Moi. We could say a little bit of Kenyatta, but let's start from Moi. And we're going to have more videos like this talking about what our economy used to be, what happened to our economy, who put us in the mess that we're in, and is there any measures, or are there any measures that are being taken to get us out of the hole that we're in terms of our national debt. So apparently in 2002, when President Moi was leaving power, our national debt stood at 629 billion shillings, or thereabout, 630 billion shillings. That's what Moi had accumulated. And do you know over what period this amount was accumulated? Guess. 630 billion accumulated over a period of 40 years. 40. That's what Moi accumulated. And yes, we can say that there was no development. There was rampant corruption. There was impunity. Yes, that's true. We had problems with the Brentwood institutions. That's true. That's a given. But in 2002, our national debt was 629 or 630 billion. By the time Mwai Kibaki was settling in, it had gotten to around 690 billion shillings. So we'll work with 690 billion as what Kibaki took from Moi. Kibaki came and worked for how many years? 10 years. 10 years, that's 2 terms. And over that period, when we got to 2013, in March, April, our national debt stood at 1.89 trillion. 1.89 trillion. By the end of the financial year 2013-2012, our national debt stood at 1.894 trillion. So Kibaki took it from Moi at 690 billion, worked through 10 years. When he was leaving power, the amount had gotten to 1.894 trillion. In other words, over the period of 10 years, Mwai Kibaki had borrowed 1.2 trillion. In 10 years, 1.2 trillion, right? So Kibaki was borrowing 120 billion every year. 120 billion. And most of the borrowings that Kibaki did were geared towards Vision 2030. We're talking economy here. And during this time, things were still fine. Things were fine. That is 2013. Our national debt stands at 1.894 trillion. In June of 2013. Over the period that Mwai Kibaki was the president, he always insisted on Kenya kujitegemea. Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee. In fact, that is the time when Alfred Mutua was the government spokesperson. And he used to sing that song, Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee. Kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. Now, of the 1.894 trillion that stood as our debt in 2013, 1.05 trillion was internal debt. Are you getting me? 1.05 was internal debt, meaning that just 800 billion or thereabout was external debt when Mwai Kibaki was exiting power. That's what Mwai Kibaki took and handed over to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The brothers in red ties and white shirts, the dot-coms, the ones who were chosen from heaven, the people who were going to bring change, give laptops to our children. Our children never got the laptops. No, they never got the laptops. But something did happen. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta takes over power in 2013, inherits a national debt of 1.89 trillion. He works through 10 years. He works through 10 years. In those 10 years, he went on to borrow 6.2, is it 6.2 or 6.8? I think it's 6.8 trillion. He borrowed 6.8 trillion. No, it's 6.2. It's 6.2 trillion because Mwai Kibaki left 1.894. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta borrowed 6.2 trillion. we're just not talking about this for the sake of talking about it. We want to interrogate. Because when Mwai Kibaki borrowed these amounts, the 120 billion that he was borrowing annually, kids were going to school free of charge. Remember? He built the Thika Super Highway. He initiated, didn't build, he initiated the Lamu Port. They wanted to do something with the SGR, though they never did, but they wanted to do something about it. Borrowing 1.2 trillion. Doing work that was tangible, visible. The shilling was strong back then. The amount we paid at the pump was bearable. It was below 100 shillings. If y'all can remember, it was way below 100 shillings, at around 78, 80 to 85 shillings. And then Uhuru came and borrowed 6.2 trillion. The big questions we're supposed to ask ourselves is, exactly what did Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta do with the 6.2 trillion that he borrowed? Because when he was leaving power, when Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was leaving power, the national debt stood at 8 trillion. So this 6.2 trillion, what exactly did Uhuru do with it? Huh? Can you pinpoint and say Uhuru did this, Uhuru did this, Uhuru did this with the monies that he borrowed? And those things that you're pinpointing, are they the value of 6.2 trillion? I want us to put tribe aside. Don't look at Uhuru like somebody who comes from your tribe. Don't look at William Ruto as somebody who comes from your tribe. Hii ni pesa ya chama. We need to talk about it. Because if we don't talk about it, man, we are being dug deep into a pit, a hole, that getting out of. So, when you do your research, you'll find that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta borrowed money to construct the SGR, which we're going to discuss in details. He borrowed money to construct the Lamu port. We're going to discuss that in details. He borrowed money to construct the Nairobi Expressway. The Nairobi Expressway. Still going to discuss that in details. What else did Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta borrow money for? So, over a period of 10 years, our economy is collapsing. In fact, the IMF talked about it in 2017. They warned us. Funny enough, in 2013, before Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and William Ruto took over power, some American warned us that choices have consequences. Little did we know that the consequences are not going to be political, but economic. We need to talk about these things in depth. I want us to discuss and find out, because Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta borrowed 6.2 trillion, left power when our national debt was 8 trillion. We need to find out with evidence, not just talking, with evidence, how much did Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta collect in terms of revenue in the 10-year period that he worked? How much was the expenditure? how much did Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta pay back in debts? Because manze tunapelekwa kwa raundi ingine mwenda. Tunapelekwa raundi mwenda, you won't believe. And something has to give. Something has to give. And we are going to talk about these things over and over. We'll talk about politics. We'll talk about our economy. We'll talk about our social. Because I'm not just doing it for me. I'm not doing it for me. Yes, in the meantime, I'm doing it for me. Yes. But we're just planting seeds. We're just planting seeds. Somebody else is going to come and water the ground for the seed to sprout out. Weed it. Prune it. Then somebody will come and benefit from the shade of the trees that we are planting. And there are people who are going to eat the fruits of those trees. I kind of feel like I have an idea where the monies that we've been complaining about being odious went to. Because they didn't go. They are going. So that's my little 1 cent on our economy. It's the first video I'm doing about the economy. I'm going to be talking about our economy for the next 5 or 6 days because we need to discuss the treachery of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. We need to discuss William Ruto and find out what solution do we have, if there is any. If you have a differing opinion about this, if I'm hurting your feelings, if I'm doing the right thing, go to the comment section. Go to the comment section and give me your idea. And let's talk ideas. Let's talk ideas. Let's think rationally. No tribe, no gender, no party. Just rationally. Because we are sitting on the same branch of a tree and somebody is cutting it. Somebody is cutting the branch of the tree that we're sitting on. If you don't say something, if I don't say something, all of us are going to fall. Do you want to fall? Have a nice one.